All right, welcome in everybody. We are live on the YouTube. Live on the YouTube. This is Rick McClatchy with the Equipped Disciple channel. And tonight, I just wanted to come on and do a little surprise Devo. I do a lot of daily Devos on the channel. We have gone through the entire book of Proverbs, technically, we've gone through the book of Proverbs 2 times. We've been through the book of Psalms. We're in the middle of the book of Judges for kind of the daily stuff. And we are, we've done the book of James. We've done a lot. We've done a lot of books of the Bible. We have them broken down. We have them broken down into playlists, and so you can go check those out. You can like and comment and subscribe and all that fun stuff on the YouTube universe, And so hopefully you are enjoying the content. If you have been here before, hopefully you have subscribed. But tonight, I wanted to just take a look at Psalm chapter 13. Psalm chapter 13, and, this is my little, how long, Lord, how long? Because, I don't know, I just feel like this struggle part of the journey, the struggle part of where are you, Lord, in the midst of really hard seasons. That's where the rubber meets the road, that's where hard answers are found. That's where that's where faith is really made or broken. Because, if things are good. Like the children of Israel, they didn't do well, honestly, when they just didn't do well when things were going well. They tended to forget the Lord. They didn't stick with Him. None of that stuff. I was trying to find this episode here so I could manage the comments. So I'm trying to pull that up here real quick. And all right, I think we're good to go there. And all right, so we're good there, so I can manage the comments. So anybody that jumps on in, let me know where you're coming from. It's always nice to know where people are watching from. All right, but without further ado, we're a couple minutes in here. We're going to go ahead and kick off the show. And so how long, Lord, how long? That is what we are talking about. How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? And I don't know if that's relatable to you. But man, for me it sure is. Like, how long will you hide your face from me when you have cried out? You have been seeking the Lord and you just feel like He's not there. You don't know what's going on. You don't know, like He's not even giving you the time of day, as we might say, like, how long will you forget me forever? And again, does God forget you? No. Does God abandon you? No. Does He leave you or forsake you? No, He doesn't. And so it is indeed a matter of how you are feeling. And at our church, because I'm the pastor, I say this all the time, that emotions are wonderful indicators, but they are terrible dictators. So we don't want to kowtow, to bow down to our emotions, because emotions are just that. They're emotions. And so we want to make sure that we are measuring, that we are comparing our emotions with the Word of God, so that we don't go astray just based on how we feel, and even recently really felt like the Lord kind of kicking me back on the path of, leading or, processing things from the place of my spirit rather than my soul, like my mind, my will, my emotions. How easy it is for us to live our lives out of our emotions, out of what we're processing. But yet the Lord's calling us to a place of closeness with Him, and also a place of trust and obedience in faith. And we always say that having faith is behaving like you believe that what God says is true. So whether you feel like it or whether you see the evidence of it, that you behave as though what God says is true. I mean, because you and I both know that what God says is true. But sometimes it doesn't feel awesome and it doesn't really look awesome. All right, so the second verse, how long will I store up anxious concerns within me, agony in my mind every day? How long will my enemy dominate me? And I feel like those are two ways that the enemy does dominate us, through anxious concerns and agony in our minds, right? And so raise your hand, type type agony or type anxious in the comments if you kind of relate to those comments, those statements about, man, how long will I store up these anxious concerns within me, in my heart and in my mind, agony in my mind every single day? How long will my enemy dominate me? How long will it just feel like I'm getting my tail kicked all over the field? Consider me, Lord. Answer me, Lord, my God. Restore brightness to my eyes, which is like the opposite of sinking further down into grief. He's like, man, cheer me up. How long is this going to be going? How long will my enemy dominate me? But consider me and answer me and restore brightness to my eyes, that hope that something is going to change. Otherwise, I'm just going to sleep in death. I'm going to head the wrong direction here. And then the next verse 4, my enemy will say, I have triumphed over him, and my foes will rejoice because I am shaken. Because, man, you can only take so much. Am I right? Like, you gotta, come on, Lord, come on. I know you think I'm strong, but this is getting a little ridiculous. The whole statement, like, God won't give you more than you can handle. Well, I mean, God won't give you any more than you can handle with Him helping you, which is a lot. God can handle a lot. And so if we are trying to handle the things that God is allowing to come our direction and we're not leaning on the Lord, that can be super problematic. But I have trusted in your faithful love. My heart will rejoice in your deliverance. I will sing to the Lord because He has treated me generously. Come on now. He's treated me generously. Honesty before the Lord, no matter how offensive your thoughts seem. That is like one really big concept I want to drive home for you and for me, is because, man, God knows everything anyways, so why in the world wouldn't we just say it out loud? Wouldn't we just allow the opportunity for God to speak to us, for us to be able to process it before the Lord? So honesty before the Lord, no matter how offensive your thoughts might seem, is 100% the way to go. Let's go to the next slide. Humility is a great foundation for those moments. So what do you mean by that? Well, if you just simply give this advice, honesty before the Lord, no matter how offensive your thoughts might seem, and you just kind of leave it at that, you don't give any qualification, you don't give any warnings or clarity or anything like that, I think it can be a little problematic, not because God can't handle stuff, but because how we handle our hearts before the Lord, I believe really, really matters. Because if we're operating, like I am suggesting, from a place of humility, then we know that God is bigger and greater and more smarter. He's more smarter than we are. And so because God is so big, so great, so grand, so glorious, so infinite in His thought capacity, then how frequently do you think there is something going on that is still of God, but man, we can't fathom how God could use that situation? And so we have to come to God built on this foundation of humility, so that we are willing to leave things before the Lord, even when they don't necessarily make sense. So keep total honesty before the Lord, but couch it in a foundation of humility. It's just the way that it needs to work. And then there's the shift that happens from verse 4 to verse 5. What is that? What is that shift? Let's go back and check it out. So my enemies will say, I have triumphed over you, and my foes will rejoice because I am shaken. But I have trusted in your faithful love. But, like a lot of these crazy things have happened that have been triumphed over. My foes rejoice because I am shaken, but I trust in your faithful love. I trust in your faithful love, oh God. My heart will rejoice in your deliverance. So I have trusted in your faithful love. My heart is going to rejoice in your deliverance, and I will sing to the Lord because he has treated me generously. So let's jump over to, so it's, but I have trusted and my heart will rejoice. So causing your heart to respond to the work that you are trusting God for. And then externally, we get the overflow of the abundance of what's going on here. So I considered all of these terrible things that were happening, but I trust you. I trust your unfailing love. And that makes my heart begin to rejoice. And then it's going to just bubble out. Out of the abundance of the heart, your mouth speaks. Your heart laughs. So it's where you're focusing your heart and your attention. And if we focus it on the Lord, then it produces that joy. It produces that great stuff coming out of us. So the internal shift leads to an external shift. It starts on the inside and it moves its way to the outside. And so we always want to make sure that we're focusing more on who we are being and a little less on what we are doing. Now, again, doing follows the being automatically, because when you are who you are, you do what you're supposed to do. Like that's just the way it works. So there you go. The internal shift that leads to that external shift comes from us changing our focus from on the problem to on the Lord and his faithful love that never fails. And then we begin to see that shift where our heart rejoices, and then we sing for joy because it bubbles up out of us. So focus on who you are being and a little less on what you are doing, and we're going to see great things come about. So with that, just a big, huge, hearty God bless you. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.